Welcome to the Empowered Spirit Show. This is your host, Terri Ann Hyman. I'll explore the connection to the human spirit in a way that helps to navigate your life, including crisis. I am passionate about helping you to open up to your intuition and the metaphysical world of spirit to find your confidence in your own inner guidance. Take a pause, be inspired, learn ways to show up focused, centered, and more dynamic in your everyday life.
Welcome back to the Empowered Spirit Show. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me today. This episode is being sponsored by Ritual and Shelter. Are you looking for a magical place to shop and hold space? Check out Ritual and Shelter online or in Homewood, Alabama. Browse through their bookshelves covering topics such as energy healing, crystal healing, Reiki, chakras, auras, the Akashic Records, shadow work, astrology, and earth-based healing. You can also find herbal teas and tinctures alongside their crystals and oils to help establish a mindful mindset and fluid ambience before meditation, ritual work, and reflection. Ritual and Shelter is dedicated to providing one-on-one, in-depth conversations with customers to help them find the most efficient healing methods and resources that match their unique interest and energy. They offer tarot sessions, Reiki, sound bowl, and crystal healing, and now they are offering witch consultations. Visit ritualshelter.com to book an appointment and bring peace back to the body, mind, and spirit. You can also find them on Instagram at Ritual Shelter Shop, as well as Pinterest at Ritual Plus Shelter. So yes, welcome, beautiful souls. Welcome. We are right now in this amazing energy. Can you feel it? The veils are thin. The spirit world is open. Lots of astrological events, Mercury retrograde, all of which helps us to go deeper and understand these shifts and these changes we are all going through. The energy of the world surrounds us right now. The veils are thin. Messages come in, reminding us that we can connect with the invisible realms of possibility. This time of year, the days are getting shorter, and right now, we're approaching a particularly potent gateway, the 1111 portal. Now, many of us know that 1111 number comes around, Spirit speaks to us, the angels are listening, and so this portal carries that energy. It carries an energy to help you understand how to manifest, how to ask, how to move in to this realm of possibility, to channel messages, to connect with your loved ones. And for those of you not familiar with this 1111 portal, it is those master numbers that come together, and it culminates on November 11th, opening us up to this period where we can ascertain information about the journey and the lessons that we are here to discover and to learn about. It's a time of accelerated spiritual awakening, a moment when the universe aligns to help us manifest our deepest desires and connect with higher consciousness. Changes can happen. It's a cosmic doorway inviting us to step into a new beginning, to shed the old layers, and to open our hearts to the loving guidance of the spirit world. This energy is all about rapid change, showing us that profound shifts can and do happen in the blink of an eye when we are opened and aligned. This beautiful energy of connection and communication is the very heart of today's episode. We're diving deep into a topic that touches so many of us, seeking and connecting with our loved ones on the other side. I am so honored to welcome Matthew McKay, who has written a very powerful book, Seeking Your Loved One on the Other Side, Communications with the Invisible Universe. He joins us to share his incredible journey of finding and maintaining a relationship with his son after his passing, and he brings a message of hope that these connections are not only possible, but available to every single one of us. This is a conversation that resonates so deeply with the work that I do. It's why I am so passionate about teaching my online classes on how to work with your own Akashic Records. Because just as we share in this episode today, I believe with all my heart that we all have the ability to open up to these channels ourselves, to receive the wisdom and to feel that eternal love. It's about empowering you to have your own direct experience, to feel that connection with your own soul. These are the tools that will allow you to navigate the rapid changes in our lives with grace and to understand the lessons that our soul is here to learn. Want to know more about your soul's journey? Schedule a spiritual upgrade call with me and let's talk about the lessons you're going through in your present life and how it was impacted in the past and what it is doing and how you can shift and change to set that future energy for yourself. I'll put the link in the show notes to schedule. I'll also put the links for the online class as well. Before we get into the episode today, let's take a moment to center, to breathe, and to set an intention for our soul's work. So wherever you are, if you can, close your eyes. Take a nice deep inhale, expanding the breath up the body. And as you exhale, bring the breath all the way down, slowing down, centering. Inhale, expanding the breath up the body. And as you exhale, drop right into your heart, right into the deepest part of your heart. Feel that connection, your spirit and the greater spirit. Know that you are loved, guided, protected. Feeling all this energy coming in around us as we set the energy for this work today. Taking a moment as we call in our Reiki masters, the teachers that come before us, the angels to open our hearts with joy and love. Calling in the crystal beings for amusement, magnification, and now call in your higher self to help receive these messages for your soul. Take another deep inhale and exhale, feeling the energy all around us as we honor this great wheel of life, honoring the seasons, the directions, calling in to the direction of the west where we are right now in the season of fall. Where the sun sets, we notice the struggles, the cycles of life. We honor to the west, the north, the east, and the south, above us, below us, right into the deepest part of your heart. Taking a moment as you feel that connection to set an intention, to hear and see and feel and know this work of your soul to open up and allow this energy to radiate all around you, setting that energy. Take another deep breath. Exhale all the way down, dropping into the heart. Feel the heart opening. Feel the illumination of your third eye. And as you're ready, blinking the eyes back open, coming back. So my guest today, Dr. Matthew McKay, PhD, is a clinical psychologist, professor at the Wright Institute, founder of the Berkeley CBT Clinic, and co-director of the Bay Area Trauma Recovery Clinic. He has authored and co-authored more than 40 books, including The Luminous Landscape of the Afterlife and Love of the Time of Impermanence. The co-founder and director of product development at New Harbinger Publications. He lives in Berkeley, California. Today, we will explore his newest book, Seeking Your Loved One on the Other Side, Communications with the Invisible Universe. So let us welcome Matthew to the show. Welcome, Matthew.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here and for all the work you've done. You've written many, many books on the subject. And yeah, it's not an easy subject, but such a powerful one. And one I think that is needed more and more in our conversations today. So thank you for your work and congratulations on this addition to your collection of all the books that you've written, Seeking Your Loved One on the Other Side, Communications with the Invisible Universe. How awesome. What led you to writing this book now?
Well, this book is the story of how I found Jordan after his death. And it was important for me to tell that story because I think so many of us who've lost loved ones are terrified that relationship is over, that soul is gone, is unreachable. And so my journey to find Jordan after his death, I think for some may be inspiring to recognize that these relationships with loved ones go on forever, and the love between us goes on forever. And I was able to discover that, and I'm hoping to pass that on to those who've lost and seek those loved ones.
I agree with you. I know in the human part of us, it is still hard. We still have to grieve and go through it. I know when I lost my mom, I had been there with her, but it was still hard. But then as we start to open up and through the conversations that you're exploring and sharing with us, it does switch. It does switch through our soul and our heart. And then that comfort, at least for me, it came in to help me with that. I have not lost a child and I cannot imagine the grief. I won't even pretend to imagine it. But to then sit with it and understand it. And then from your perspective as a psychologist, opening up the doors for more understanding. I think it's so important and so needed right now. And here we are, especially at this time of year, right? The veils are thinning and Halloween and All Saints Day and Day of the Dead and all of that energy is around us and we can seek those messages. So how awesome to bring this work forward. And also too, that you worked with Ralph Metzner. How awesome is that? To have known him and to have used him and to understand this as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to have Ralph in my life. In fact, his son and my son were good friends, dear friends. And so I got to know Ralph in a different context. But after Jordan died, Ralph really offered to be my guide because he specialized in communication with the afterlife and the study of souls in the afterlife. And so he really showed me the way.
Yeah, I got to interview his wife, Kathy Coleman, on the work that she put together about his life. I was fascinated. I only knew a little bit. I only knew kind of like the hippie, psychedelic part of him. And so to go in and really learn so much and now it opened the door for so much of this work. So that was a really unique experience that you had. And some really deep information came forward. What would you say is one of the biggest things you have learned from this?
The thing that is just that I've learned in this journey and that I'm hoping to be able to pass on to others is that the relationships that we have to people we love never end. And death has nothing to do with the relationship. We can't see the person there, not physically present, but the relationship is still there. The love is still there. And it's really our own choice as to whether we want to engage openly now in that relationship or wait till we pass on. But we have the choice now on earth to continue to engage with those loved ones and to continue to express to them our feelings and also to learn from them. Jordan has taught me a tremendous amount and guided me. And the loved ones on the other side have a lot of wisdom. They're aware of all their past lives, all that they've learned in spirit, uh, and their connection to spirit is much more direct. And so they can pass on incredible wisdom to us. So it's a source for us of guidance if we want to use it.
It is a source, and as we were talking earlier before I hit record, I was sharing that I'm a recent new grandmother and took the title of Mimi, which was my mother's name that my children called her. And there was something about me stepping into that and feeling that everlasting energy coming forward, helping my daughter, helping this beautiful new baby, this innocence, right? But I could feel that. And it brought me so close to all those generations of energies, all the mothers that came for me. And I think that's part of what you're saying, right? That we still have this relationship and it can shift and it can change.
Yeah, we have it and it's available to us. And it's our choice as to whether we activate it and open the channel or we wait.
Yeah, I so agree. I so agree. Now, how did this conflict with your psychology background or
Well,
not?
for many years I was agnostic. I really didn't have any clear sense of whether there was an afterlife, whether there's spirit that connects us. Um, and shortly, not some several years before Jordan passed, I did read a book that had a tremendous impact on me, and Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. And in Journey of Souls, and he's a psychologist like me, was and he's a psychotherapist, but also had incredible capacities as a hypnotist. And he discovered by accident uh, how to enter the life between lives, and ended up, hypnotizing like 7,000 people before he even wrote a book. And in that book that he finally wrote, he's describing an afterlife that practically everybody has in common. And it kind of blew my mind, and I was like, and it began to suspect that Newton was onto something. And in fact, I learned how to do that kind of hypnosis, and I had the experience of actually then witnessing people who were entering the life between lives, and seeing what's there and describing this incredible landscape. And so that had a very powerful effect on me. Now, Jordan was still alive at that point, and he thought it was all hooey, which is kind of funny since he's been so uh, integral in my spiritual development since he passed. But that started to turn my attention, and so after Jordan passed, I was pretty sure there might be an afterlife where he lived. And like anyone who's lost someone dear to them, these two great questions. The first one is, does that soul still exist? And is my child somewhere? And the second question is, are they okay? Are they happy where they are? And those questions just burned for me. And I just had to find some version of an answer. And so started on a quest. Started seeing mediums, saw Felix Lerner, a famous medium in San Francisco, Austin Wells. Then I investigated something called induced after-death communication, Alan Botkin's work, and based on a technique called EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which I use with trauma clients, and went to Chicago with Alan, and actually had the experience of hearing Jordan talking to me, and saying those things that I had so needed to hear, that he was watching over us, he loved us, he was with us, and he was really happy where he was. So that softened the pain to some extent. And yet it was a one-sided conversation. The mediums just tell you what they hear and you absorb it. And it was a beautiful experience, that the induced after-death communication, and yet it was all one-sided. It was just Jordan saying some things and my receiving them very gratefully. And so it was a big sea change for me when Ralph Metzner taught me how to channel. And he taught me, probably took no more than about half an hour, 40 minutes to teach me the technique. I went home that night and I had my first experience of having a conversation with Jordan, of being able to ask him questions and get answers. And that conversation has continued to this day, and it's central and one of the most meaningful things in my life. And I just want to pass on to other people that is possible, that you can have those conversations with loved ones. You can reaffirm your love and connection and learn from them. So those things are not just possible, but anyone can do them. I have no great skills. I'm not clairaudient. I'm certainly not a medium, but Ralph taught me how I can, and anyone can, open the channel to loved ones.
Oh, I so agree. And I appreciate that point, because all too often I see clients that come in and they want the reading done for them, which is fine, especially if you're new. Like you said, you had to start somewhere. But I really believe that we can learn it for ourselves. And I'm a big proponent on teaching how to read your own Akashic records. So in the records, we open up a whole lot. We can go down the one route of one life and keep going that way too, but we open up so much more. And I agree, when we feel it ourselves, when we have that experience in that in body, I mean, you even talk about your wife, how she senses it differently than how you do. All of that's important. But when we go in there and have that experience, it changes everything. and we can agree. My first teacher with this work was Brian Weiss. It was in New York, many conferences, Omega, all of his work, talked to him personally. So I went through there. And I will say, after my mom died, I went back to that book, The In Between Lives, exactly what you're talking about, and was reading those messages to keep reminding me, because it's like, I know this. Why am I so sad? I know this. Why am I so crying? But that's the humanness. And so we
That's
go through that. Yeah. Yeah. And then I also had recently on the show Susan Geisman, who had a
oh,
similar experience, lost a stepdaughter and just refused to give up that there was anything more and started studying. And she says the same thing, like we all can learn to do this. So I
that's right.
appreciate that so much.
What,
Yeah.
what Ralph taught me was that the loved ones on the other side are just a thought away. And as soon as you think about them,
Thought away.
you start opening the channel. And we don't realize that. We think about them fondly, we remember them, we recall experiences that we shared together. We feel these waves of love and loss, and we don't actually realize that all of that actually opens the channel that and if we decided to, we could actually begin communication at that point, and we could begin to receive answers and responses and direct sense of love from that soul on the other side. And we don't understand that. And that's one of the
Yeah.
things that was so central to me, was that, okay, I can connect to Jordan simply by deciding to think about him and send him love.
Yeah, I so agree. And I think that's such an important message of the book. And I think that we can do it. And we really aren't taught that. And so sometimes people come to me and say, well, I'm hearing messages, I'm getting it, I must be crazy. It's like, no, you're not. You're opening up to spiritual experiences. Let's train it. Let's give you some form. So I'm big on giving you that foundation so that you don't feel crazy. But I so agree. And then sometimes we can have experiences like, oh my gosh, like, aha, like, okay, I know if my mom's around, but that was really big. Like for us, it's seeing hummingbirds in unusual places, things like that that come in as signs. So all of that is important. And you bring that forward in your book. Now you also talk about some of the importance of like why the soul leaves early, and what are some of the karmic lessons that we learn, and why are we even here as a soul. You bring up so many great points in the book.
That was something that kind of blew my mind a little. I mean, Jordan, just picks topics with me and he'll just start talking, and I'm the dutiful scribe. I write down what he has to say. And on this one particular occasion, he just started talking about, he says, I know you wonder why I left early. And he said, this was part of a plan. And my wife always says, listen, if I was part of that plan, I must have been in the restroom when we decided about that, because I did not agree to that. I don't care what you say. But he talks about actually how, well, for one thing, before 1800, uh, the majority of children died before they were 5. So, so we've had many lives that were short. And yet those lives can be incredibly important and productive in terms of what we learn in those lives. So, we might have a brief life just because we came here to accompany another soul and give them support for, a really a short period of time. Or perhaps we came just to learn a very specific lesson. And Jordan, in fact, did that. He came to learn a very specific lesson about how to harness his will, and to take his energy and then turn it into really fundamental changes in his life. And by the time he was 23, he had learned that lesson, and he did not necessarily need to linger any longer. So sometimes there's a vital lesson. Sometimes there's a karmic process that we're here to complete. There's something we've been learning in several different lives, and it might be, for example, learning about illness, learning about helplessness, and so we enter a body that's very fragile and struggling, and that lesson we learn early and we can move on. So there's just all kinds of reasons why we might have a short life, and actually plan for that all together in the afterlife, as we begin to make it the selection. There's a kind of a circle of life where we made it in the afterlife, where we make a selection about you know, I'm going to enter this particular body, this particular family, this particular moment in history, and this particular life.
Yeah, and you really bring the point forward too about learning lessons and pain and how we can, if we can, look beneath the surface. What did I learn here? How can this help my soul grow? And I think that's a really important aspect because all too often we want to stuff it down. We don't want to deal with it. We want to jump out of the body, right? But this allows us to understand some of those lessons. I lost a baby early on. This
Mhm.
goes way back too, because it really wasn't even thought that it was important. It was more than halfway in my pregnancy process. And it was just like all of a sudden then gone. And it was in one of my classes with Cindy Dale, great teacher.
Oh
She's
yeah.
like, well, you did have a third. So I said I wanted three children, ended up having two, but I did have that third. And so it has allowed me to come back to it. And every year, and she comes around, I say it's a she around at Halloween because that's when I lost it in the hospital. But I have been able to connect with that and the lessons that were there for me. It did start me on a spiritual path. I didn't know it at the time, but now that I look back on it and how that has grown with me as I have evolved more and more, and probably one of the reasons why I do the soul work as well. Although in my history, I've been doing this for a long time, still learning, still growing. Yeah.
And that was part of the lesson plan for this particular life, your particular life this
Yeah.
time around. And that soul, that dear soul that was just with you for just this very short moment, uh, showed up to help you with that lesson. And so even though that soul never even entered the world, uh, that soul gave you an important, it's something that you take with you for
Yeah.
this entire existence. And I guess that's something that I did want to mention because Jordan says that, the whole reason we are here is to learn. This is a very difficult school we come to. In fact, of all the planets souls incarnate onto, Earth is considered one of the most challenging, one of the
I
most
agree.
difficult, because we enter these bodies that are full of emotions, full of desire, full of impulse, and learning how to live with all of that is very challenging. And so we come here to learn. That's the whole point of it all. And sort of on a deeper level, what he has said is that all, or the divine, whatever we want to call the source, is in process of evolving. All is not perfect. All is continuing to evolve, and all continues to evolve with our help. Uh, we're all part of it. We're all, individual specks of the consciousness of all, and we come here to learn things that all could not learn. Bec only that you could only learn in a physical world. For example, learning about loss. All can't have that experience. All can't understand grief. It's, and we come here to learn about it. And we also, just last thing, come here to learn how to love in the face of all this pain. All doesn't have pain. We don't have pain in the afterlife. You can't learn these lessons unless you come to a physical planet and live in a physical body and learn how to love in the face of all of the obstacles and painful things we face. And it's a sacred mission. And so all the pain we suffer is not our fault. It's not we're not bad, we're not failing. The pain we suffer allows us to learn and take these lessons back to spirit.
And to learn of love, as you talked about, like that was a big point he was making, is that we are here to learn about love
Yeah.
and an unconditional viewpoint, I think, without judgment and without holding us back. And I think all of us want to be loved anyway. So we do seek out lessons, and sometimes it does take pain
Yeah.
to go through it. We honor the pain, but we don't want to keep holding on to it as a victim, but we want to grow from it. And those are a couple of points I think were really important in your book, that we are here for lessons. We are here to learn, and it can help us through the pain and the grief. And ultimately, what are we here for? Ultimately, it is to open up to love. Right. And consciousness is shifting. I think your book is very timely because it's no more just we have this body and we're only in this body and we're only in this 3D world. We have to expand that consciousness of who we are. I mean, quantum science is so big right now. You talk about science coming into your work, or well, for you, it's spirituality coming into your science, right? I guess I should say that. For me, I see the science proving the work that I do through spiritual awareness. And I think that openness is so needed right now. I mean, we're talking about, you hear a lot of the astrologers, the galactic energy, galactic angels, galactic guides, and we can tap into it as easily as we want to. And it is that determination. And I think it might take a little bit of learning, having someone like you have with Ralph, like sit through and confirm and show you, but then we go in and we do our work ourselves. I also wanted to mention your other book. I have Lessons from the Afterlife, because I feel like it's a really great companion for that, because it gives meditations and it gives you things to contemplate and suggest. And you do a lot of channeled writing.
Yeah, a lot of channel writing. I mean, that book is just largely Jordan talking about, well, he talks about all kinds of things, but he talks about the nature of the universe, why the earth was created, why we come here. It's just he has so much wisdom, and but it's wisdom that actually all of us have to some extent, but we forget when we incarnate. We don't remember our past life. We don't remember all the things that we've learned in spirit, and we are here, and the forgetting is necessary for us to take this seriously. So we show up in this time and place, in this environment, this family, and all the kind of circumstances that we face, and if we knew that, oh, this is one of hundreds of lives I've had, and here I am again, and here's and my soul group is around me as they often are, and somehow the struggle and the impermanence that we experience on this planet, and the difficulty we have of facing all the losses that we experience, we wouldn't take seriously, and so we have to forget in order to learn these lessons, which we then take with us into the afterlife.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't hold on to everything. And to me, that's why the Akashic Records is so powerful. I love that when we link up the parallels in life and how we are repeating some patterns. I have a class coming up on past, present, future, how we live in the present from future imprints affects us in the future, and how we can, like you say, go into that energy and understand, where is this from? Past life, generation. And often it intermingles too. It intermingles, and we start creating our habits and our behaviors from those things. So to me, it's quite fascinating when we can put the energy psychology of it all together. And really, I think it is an awakening to recognize that we aren't just our bodies, that our soul does continue. I think it's a beautiful thing to think about. And for me, it helps. I know after my mom died, after my dad died, I was busy taking care of my mom. And I really don't think I grieved him fully until after my mom died. And then it was everybody. And it took me a while. It took me a while to really come to terms with a lot of that. But I also went in deep and looked at the questions that you ask in your book, and looked at, what is this about? What is life about? And that has helped me not only in my personal growth, but also in the work I do with others. So I think this is something very valuable for all of us to look at. I really would. Yeah. You talk about in your book, you talk about so many things. We're just touching on a little bit, but the soul families and spirit world, and how we do incarnate and what we come in for. And, even your touching story of your son and how tragic that was to have been shot on his bicycle, and that imprint that he may have carried that attracted that as well. Right. That's in the humanness. We put that form in it, but to me, it makes sense. Right. And so we can come to terms.
Yeah, he actually has told me that the person that actually
Okay.
shot him, that's a karmic imprint from a past life, in which that same soul and he had contact. And one of the things I just want to mention while we're talking about karma is that karma is not punishment. People get confused karma.
Yeah.
They think, oh, well, I did some horrible thing in some past life, and now the karma requires that I be punished for it. And that's not what karma is at all. Karma is our lesson plan for our many lives. It's like, okay, I'm in a state of growth, and I'm learning things as I go along. And so all karma is like continuing the lesson plan in this life that I left off on in the last life. And so I may, for example, have violence in a past life. Um, and so in this life, I'm going to have some encounter with violence that helps me learn more about what it feels like, or what it means, or how to control it. But the lesson plan continues not as punishment, but as growth.
Yeah. I so agree. It is neither good nor bad. So we go, oh, bring in some good karma, bring in some bad. But I think that's just the human judgment, the duality that we live. But I agree. I look at it kind of like as energy imprints too. Like that energy coming back around can be karma, right? Whether it's good or bad, but it is lessons that we've learned and things like you say, we're still growing and we're still learning. And just like I mentioned, even with that little baby spirit, I feel like she's grown with me because I do go back into it. I do sit with it. I do ask some of the questions. And I think that's important that we all learn we can do this. We can receive those messages. I love it when my mom shows up. She's like my time angel. I gave her a like job. Okay, mom, you be my time angel because she was always on time. I was more like my father. So there's certain things I know she always comes in to help me with. And I love it because it does feel a depth of our energy that we can move forward with.
And we're not just growing as individuals, we're growing uh, as the entire
I
group of
agree.
souls on this planet are growing together. And and you can see how we're evolving. I mean, we're struggling with tribalism now, like this good bad thing of like the other tribe is bad and our tribe is good. All that stuff is going on. We can see it all happening. But we're evolving as a planet and as a collection of souls toward oneness, toward an awareness of that we're all connected, we all belong together, and that evolution is occurring both collectively and individually for us.
I
It's
agree with you.
yeah,
Yeah. It's like too when we talk about when we do this spiritual work, we go in, it's not just for us, but it's all those generations. And I felt that, like I said, when I stepped into those Mimi shoes and I'm sitting there with my daughter, her baby, and just feeling that wholeness of life coming right there, right now. And that's similar how to our souls are, our soul families too. Right. And how we evolve with them, like you're saying, and like you talk so much about in the book. And I think it's important to understand. And the other thing you talk about, one last point we'll make here is that we're never alone, right? It's humanness that isolates ourselves and pulls apart. But when we recognize we're souls and we have this beautiful divinity that connects with the all, you mentioned the all a lot in your lesson book, that it just opens us up to feel that connection. I am you, you are me. And that's an important thing that
that's
we
right.
all need right now. Yeah.
That's right. We are all one on some level, and and in some ways, the way Jordan describes it is that, we're like bees in a hive. And so we go out as little bees and collect nectar, which is wisdom, collect knowledge, collect all the things we're learning, and we bring it back to the hive, the whole, all. And that's our job, is to collect wisdom and learning and to bring it back to to the collective wisdom of all. And so it's not about just coming here and uh, you know, trying to get a career and a job and whatever the rules are you're supposed to follow, and whatever your religion is teaching you about who you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to be. No, we're just coming here to learn. That's it. And it's a beautiful, beautiful mission and a sacred mission. And all the pain we struggle with is helps us learn, and it's not failure. It's our opportunity to grow. And that's the thing he keeps saying to me over and over and over again. And the other thing he keeps saying is, okay, how can each choice you make in this day be an act of love? How can you turn every moment of choice into an act of love? That's what we're learning how to do.
Yes, we are. And even though it may not seem it in the physical world right now, that is where we're going. And I think that's a place to be inspired to keep doing this work, to keep lifting up that vibration with love, with peace, with joy to help us move through these times. I so agree with you. And what a beautiful message from Jordan coming in. Yeah. So, what a great book, what great work. And for me, I love seeing spirituality come into psychology for sure. That's partly what I do. Went off to college to be a psychologist, psychology anyway, ended up in the fine arts. And now, through the work I do as an interfaith minister, I do a lot of neuroscience through EFT, working in the quantum, working in that brain repattern. Yeah. And the Akashic realm. Yeah. So, to me, it all has come full circle. But I think it's important that we have that whole picture when we do this work. So I appreciate your work so much. Where can we find your books, your works? What's going on? Are you teaching? I know you've written a lot.
Well, I do teach at the Wright Institute. I teach a course actually on psychotherapy and spirituality, how to merge them. And You can learn more about Jordan at the website seekingjordan.com. And and just, appreciate the opportunity to uh, help him spread the word. I'm sort of his assistant in
There you
in
go.
this effort. But I do cherish the opportunity.
Yeah, we'll give a shout out to Inner Traditions as well for bringing this work forward. They're awesome and all that they do and open up to. So I know we have said it, Matthew, but if you could just leave our listeners with one last uplifting thought on how you feel that working with the afterlife and seeking that communication and understanding those messages can help to empower the spirit.
I think one of the most important things that my experience with Jordan and the work that I've done has left me with is this sense of profound connection, and also a sense of what death is. Death is just merely a transition. It's not anything bad. It's merely an opportunity to move on to this other world we live in. And and what and so I guess one of the main messages I have is, don't be afraid of death. It's just a doorway. And what Jordan says is this. He says, you will be received, you will be cared for, you will be loved, and the dark door will open, and the light of love will take you in. And so I guess that's the message I would like to leave folks with.
The light of love will take you in.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a beautiful message. And not to be afraid. It is a doorway. I agree. Yeah.
great.
Well, Matthew, thank you for being with us today and sharing your work. The best of wishes for that to your spirit.
Thank you so much, Terri.
As we go to close this beautiful conversation with Matthew, I keep coming back to this profound truth. Don't be afraid of death. It's just a portal, another door opening. Welcome it with love. That's what we're really here for anyway, isn't it? To love, to connect, to grow our souls through every experience, whether it's in this physical world or beyond. And as Matthew so beautifully shared with us today, those connections never end. Our loved ones are just a thought away, waiting for us to open that channel of communication. We all can do it. This is the heart of the work I am so passionate about. We are all capable of receiving these messages, of tuning into the wisdom that surrounds us. We don't have to wait. We don't have to rely on someone else to be the bridge. We can learn this ourselves. And when we do, everything shifts around us. You can find it. Get some guidance, get some training. Join me in my classes to learn to open up these channels. I am so excited to invite you to join me for my next online class this winter, Past, Present, Future, the Akashic Healing Method for Breaking Cycles. I will have an introductory class on December 5th where I will talk about how you can tune into your spirit guides, your healing guide, your higher self to receive messages. This is about empowering you to access your own divine wisdom, to trust what you're receiving, and to understand the guidance that is always available to you. We're never alone. Whether you're just beginning your spiritual journey or been walking this path for years, this class will give you the foundation and the confidence to connect directly with the unseen realms. You can find all the details and registration information on my website. I'll drop the link in the show notes as well. And I truly hope you will join us. This is a sacred time right now that we are in, especially with the energy of 11/11. The days are getting darker, the winter energy. This is where we do that deep work. The shifts are happening, and they're happening fast. Let's embrace them together. Thank you so much for listening and for being here with me, for opening your heart and being a part of this beautiful community of empowered spirits. Until next time, may you walk in love, in light, and in deep connection with all that is. I am your host, Terri Ann Hyman, to your spirit. Namaste.